Alright, what's going on, guys? Today I'm gonna be breaking down the NBA slate for Monday, March 6th. We got a huge 12-game slate on for this Monday, a lot of good games. So yeah, let's go ahead and get started. Alright, starting off at point guard, your top point guard on today's slate is James Harden. He gets a good matchup defensively against San Antonio. They're not a good defense against the point guard, but I don't think Harden's really necessary on this slate. This is a 12-game slate, and I think there are other studs worth paying up for. So I don't think I'm going to be on Harden. The Spurs could easily put Kawhi Leonard on Harden, which is a terrible matchup for Harden. So I am a little worried about that. I feel like the Spurs might let Kawhi guard James. So I don't think I'm going to be on Harden on this slate. I think there are other studs worth targeting. Steph Curry against Atlanta. I really like this matchup for Curry. Curry is way overpriced in my opinion at $52. In order to pay off that price tag, he has to get you at least 50 fantasy points, which he really isn't a lock for. But this is a really good matchup against the Hawks. They're not a good defense against the point guard. So Curry is in play, but I'm not probably going to play him on Yahoo just because of his price. I'm not sure what his price is on other sites, but on Yahoo, he's not in play for me at $52. I don't think he's going to be able to pay that off. But this is a really good matchup. Isaiah Thomas against the Clippers, I'm probably not going to go there. Thomas is going to have to deal with Chris Paul's defense, and Paul is a really good defender. Thomas is also overpriced at $48. He has to get you almost 50 fantasy points to pay off that price tag. And I don't think he's going to be able to do that against Paul, so I'm not going to be on Thomas. But under him, I do really like Chris Paul against Boston. Isaiah Thomas is a really bad defender, so Paul should be able to excel in this matchup. Paul is also a little overpriced at $46. He hasn't been paying off that price tag lately. But given the matchup, I do think he can get you 40 to 50 fantasy points. So I think Paul is in play even at $46. This matchup is just too juicy against Boston. They're terrible defensively against the point guard. So even at $46, I think Paul is in play. He can easily get you 40 to 50 fantasy points against Isaiah Thomas' defense. Kyrie Irving against Miami, that's a good matchup for Irving. Miami's not good defensively against the point guard. But at $43, I don't think I'm going to be on Irving on this slate. If I'm paying up at point guard, I'm just going to find the $3 to go to CP3, or I'll look to pay down. So I like Irving in this matchup, but I'm not really a big fan of his price tag, so I'm not going to be on him on Yahoo. I think he's overpriced on that site. Damian Lillard against Minnesota. I really like this matchup for Lillard. Minnesota is not good defensively against the point guard, and Dame has been playing very well lately. Yeah, Dame's got over 40 in 5 straight games, so at $41, I think he's in play. He can easily pay that off with the way he's been playing. Kemba against Indiana. I really like this matchup for Kemba. Indiana is not good defensively against the point guard, and Kemba has also been playing very well lately. He's been getting over 40 fantasy points in 4 straight games. So I really like Kemba at only $39. He can easily pay that off in this good matchup against Indiana, so I think Kemba is in play. Also really like Mike Conley against Brooklyn. Brooklyn's just a terrible defense, and they play at a really fast pace. Conley has also been playing very well lately, and he is underpriced at $33. If you're attacking the mid-range at point guard, I really like Conley. He should be able to pay off that cheap price tag against Brooklyn. Goran Dragic against Cleveland. I really like this matchup for Dragic. I don't think I'm going to be targeting him on this slate, though. At $33, I think if I'm paying that price tag for a point guard, I'm just going to go for Conley. So I don't think I'm going to be on Dragic. I'll just take Conley over him, but this is a really good matchup. Cleveland's terrible defensively against the point guard. So if Dragic is cheap on other sites, I like him there, but on Yahoo, I would just take Conley over him. Drew Holiday against Utah, I'm not going to go there. That's going to be a really bad matchup for the Pelicans, so I don't think I'm going to go there. Jeff Teague against Charlotte, I'm probably not going to go there either. If I'm attacking that price range, I'm just going to find the extra dollars to get to Conley, or I'll pay down. So I'm probably not going to be on Teague on this slate. Ricky Rubio against Portland. I really like this matchup for Rubio. He's been playing very well lately, and he is underpriced at $28. And this is a terrific matchup against Portland. Portland's the worst team defensively. They rank 30th DVP against point guards. So if you're attacking the mid-range at point guard, I'm really liking Rubio. He is definitely in play. Also really like Dennis Schroeder against Golden State. This is going to be an up-and-pace matchup for the Hawks. And Golden State struggles against the point guard. Steph Curry is not a good defender. So I also really like Schroeder at the mid-range at only $27. He can easily pay that off in this up-and-pace matchup. D Rose against Orlando. I don't think I'm going to go there, but D Rose has been playing very well lately. Rose has paid off his price tag in 5 straight games. So if you need a mid-range point guard, I think Rose is in play, but I'm probably not going to be targeting him on this slate. I'm just going to pay up for Schroeder or Rubio. But Rose has been playing very well lately, and this is a good matchup, so I think Rose is in play. Some guys I like on the cheap end, I really like Tyler Johnson at only $19 against the Cavs. Johnson is really cheap on Yahoo at only $19. He's really been hitting value lately. He's paid off that price tag in 4 straight games. He doesn't really play heavy minutes. He'll usually play close to 25 to 30 minutes. But he does produce in the minutes that he plays. He can easily pay off his price tag if he gets 25 minutes. So if you need a cheap value point guard, I'm really liking Tyler Johnson. This is a terrific matchup against Cleveland. They really struggle against the point guard. Johnson's really cheap, so if you need a value point guard, I like him. And that's pretty much it for point guard. There really isn't much value here. I think if you're looking for a value play, you're going to take Tyler Johnson. But I think the optimal strategy at point guard today is going to be to either pay up or attack the mid-range. But yeah, let's go ahead and move on to shooting guard. All right, your top shooting guard on this slate is Nicholas Batum. He gets a really good matchup against the Pacers. They're really bad defensively against the 2-guard. Batum had been struggling lately, but he did pick it up in his last game against Denver, scoring 35 fantasy points. If you're looking to pay up at shooting guard, I think Batum is going to be one guy you should target. He can easily pay off his price tag given the matchup. He can get you close to 35 fantasy points in this matchup, so I think Batum's in play if you're looking to pay up. Dwayne Wade's currently a game time decision for tomorrow's game. Even if D-Wade plays, I'm not going to be on him on this slate. This is a really bad matchup against Detroit. Detroit's really good defensively against the shooting guard. KCP is a really good defender. If I'm paying up at shooting guard, I'm going to just take Batum over Wade, so I'm not going to be on D-Wade on this slate. Klay Thompson against Atlanta. This is a really good matchup for Thompson. I'm not really a big fan of his price tag at $32. He has to get you close to 35 fantasy points to pay that off. He can definitely do that in this matchup, but if I'm paying up at shooting guard, I'm just going to find the extra dollar to get to Batum. So I'm not going to be on Thompson on this slate. I'll just find the extra dollar for Batum, but this is a good matchup for Klay, so he's in play, but I'm probably not going to be targeting him. CJ McCollum against Minnesota. I really like this matchup for CJ. He is definitely in play at only $31. His price has dropped a little bit. And Minnesota really struggles defensively against the shooting guard, so if you're looking to pay up, I like McCollum. He can easily pay off that $31 price tag. He only has to get you close to 30 to 35 fantasy points to pay that off. And he can definitely do that in this matchup, so I think CJ's in play. Will Barton against Sacramento, I'm not going to be going there. I don't think Barton's in play at $24. I don't think he'll be able to pay off that price tag. He has to get you close to 25 to 30 fantasy points to pay that off, and I don't think he can do that. With all the Nuggets guys healthy again, Barton really took it a step down, so I'm not going to be on him. Some value shooting guards I like. I like Patrick Beverley against San Antonio. If James Harden has to deal with Kawhi defense, that could really open up some scoring opportunities for Beverley. He will either be guarded by Tony Parker or Danny Green, which are both plus matchups for Beverley. And Pat Bev has been playing very well lately. He's paid off his price tag in 5 straight games. And Beverley does play heavy minutes. He'll play over 30 minutes pretty much every night. So if you need a cheap shooting guard, I like Beverley at only $19. He can easily pay off that price tag, so I think he's in play for value. Also really like Tim Hardaway Jr. against Golden State. This is a matchup where Hardaway could easily go off. This is going to be an up-and-pace matchup. The Hawks are really going to need someone to score the ball so they can keep up with Golden State. And I think they could really look towards Hardaway for that. And he has been playing very well lately too. In his last 2 games, he's put up 42 and 34 fantasy points and played 35 and 34 minutes. I don't think I would use Hardaway in cash games just because his minutes have been a little up and down. But for tournaments, he does have really good upside in this matchup. If this game stays close, Hardaway could go off, so I like him for tournaments at only $17. Also like Malcolm Brogdon against the Sixers. Ever since Michael Beasley went down, Brogdon's really had to step up and play heavy minutes. In his last game against Toronto, he put up 26 fantasy points and played close to 42 minutes. So if you need a cheap shooting guard, I like Brogdon at $17. With the amount of minutes he's going to play, he can easily pay off that price tag against the Sixers. So I like Brogdon for value. He's definitely in play. And yeah, that's pretty much it for shooting guard. Let's go ahead and move on to small forward. All right, your top small forward on this slate is LeBron. He gets a pretty good matchup against Miami. They're not good defensively against a small forward. If you're looking to pay up, I think LeBron is definitely somebody you should target. He's been playing very well lately with Kevin Love out. Even at $54, I think LeBron's in play for cash games. He's just going to play heavy minutes every night, and he will produce. I don't think I'm going to be targeting LeBron on this slate. If I'm paying up at small forward, I have a different guy in mind, but if you want to pay up at the top, LeBron is definitely somebody you should target. Jimmy Butler against Detroit, I'm probably not going to go there at $48. They could easily put KCP on Butler, and that could really shut him down. So I'm not going to be targeting Butler on this slate, especially not at $48. That's way too expensive for me. The guy I really like at small forward, and probably my favorite play on this slate, is Kawhi Leonard at only $44. Leonard gets a terrific matchup against Houston. Houston's terrible defensively, and they play at one of the fastest paces in the league. This game should stay close. Houston has been playing very well lately. And same goes for Kawhi Leonard. He has also been playing very well. In his last 3 games, he's put up 51, 53, and 67 fantasy points, and he's played 34, 39, and 43 minutes. If you're paying up at small forward, I think Kawhi is going to be the guy you want to target on this slate. Kawhi does have really good upside in this matchup. The Rockets are going to put up points, so the Spurs are going to need somebody to step up and score, and that's definitely going to be Kawhi. So if you're paying up at small forward, I think Kawhi is going to be one guy you want to target. He is my favorite play on this slate. He's going to be the stud that I'm looking at on this slate. Under him, you got Andrew Wiggins against Portland. This is a really good matchup for Wiggins. Portland's really bad defensively against a small forward. Wiggins has been struggling lately in his last 2 games, only putting up 28 and 21 fantasy points. But those were really bad matchups against Utah and San Antonio. Both of those teams are good defensively. This is definitely a bounce-back spot for Wiggins. He could easily go for 40 fantasy points. So if you don't want to pay up for Kawhi or LeBron on this slate, you can easily target Wiggins at the mid-range. Also really like Carmelo against Orlando. Orlando's really bad defensively against a small forward. So like I said, if you're not going to pay up to the top, you can definitely target Melo at the mid-range as well. He is definitely in play. Gordon Hayward against New Orleans. I'm probably not going to go there. Hayward really hasn't been paying off his price tag lately at $35. I don't think he's going to be in play. He has been struggling, so if you're attacking that price range, I'll just find the extra dollars to get to Wiggins or to Melo. So I don't think Hayward's going to be somebody I target on this slate. Paul George against Charlotte. I really like George in this matchup. He will have to deal with MKG defense, and MKG is a pretty good defender. But George is really cheap at only $33 on Yahoo. All he has to do is get you 35 fantasy points to pay that off, and he easily can do that. So if you're not wanting to pay up and you want to attack the mid-range, George can be somebody you target on this slate. He is really cheap at only $33. He's definitely in play. Robert Covington at $31. I'm probably not going to go there. Covington has been playing very well lately, but I don't think I can pay that price tag for him. If I'm attacking that price range, I just found the $2 for PG, so not going to be on Covington on this slate. Don't like his price tag. Same goes for Wilson Chandler. I'm not going to be targeting him on this slate. I think he's way overpriced at $27. He's not going to be able to pay that off. If you need someone at the mid-range, you can target Gallinari against Sacramento. Gallo's been playing very well lately, and he is pretty cheap as well at only $25. He only has to get you close to 30 fantasy points to pay that off, and he can easily do that against Sacramento. So if you need a mid-range small forward, Gallo should be somebody you should target. He can easily pay off his price tag in this matchup. Another mid-range small forward I like is Marcus Morris against Chicago. Morris has been playing very well lately, and he is underpriced at only $20. All he has to do is get you 25 fantasy points to pay that off, and he's been doing that lately. So if you need a mid-range small forward, Marcus Morris should be somebody you should target. He can easily pay off his cheap $20 price tag in this matchup. So I like him at the mid-range as well. And some guys you could target on the cheaper end. I'm really liking Chris Middleton against the Sixers. Middleton has been playing very well lately, and he is underpriced at only $19. He only has to get you 20 to 25 fantasy points to pay that off, and he can easily do that against the Sixers. He does have a 30-minute restriction, but in 30 minutes, Middleton can easily pay off his cheap price tag. So I think he is in play. Even with the minutes restriction, he can still pay off his price. So if you need a value small forward, I like Middleton. I also like Terrence Ross against the Knicks. Ross is also underpriced at only $16. He only has to get you 20 to 25 fantasy points to pay that off, and he can easily do that in this matchup. The Knicks are one of the worst teams defensively against the small forward, so if you need a cheap small forward on this slate, I like Terrence Ross at only $16. He can easily pay that off given the matchup, so I think he's in play for value. And yeah, that's pretty much it for small forward. Let's go ahead and move on to power forward. Alright, your top power forward on this slate is Anthony Davis. He gets a really bad matchup against Utah. They're a really good defensive team, and they play at a really slow pace. So I'm not going to be targeting AD on this slate, especially not at $53. I don't think he's in play given the matchup. Giannis against the Sixers. This is a good matchup for Giannis. The Sixers are really bad defensively against the power forward. But the Greek Freak has been struggling lately. He hasn't gotten over 50 fantasy points in 5 straight games. And at $51, you're going to need him to get close to 50 to pay off his price tag. So I don't think I'm going to be on Giannis on this slate. Given that price, I don't think he's going to be able to hit value. Like I said, he has been struggling lately. So until he gets hot, I'm not going to be on Giannis. Blake Griffin against Boston. I really like this matchup for Blake. If you're wanting to pay up for power forward, Blake should be somebody you should target. Boston really struggles defensively against the power forward, so I like Blake if you're paying up. Even at $45, he can pay that off given the matchup. So I like him if you're paying up. Under him, you got Draymond Green against Atlanta. I really like this matchup for Draymond. He's really stepped up with KD getting hurt. Draymond started to score the ball a little bit more, so if you need a mid-range power forward, Draymond should be somebody you should target. Like I said, he has had to step up, and at $36, he can pay that off. So I like Green at the mid-range. He's definitely in play. Paul Millsap against Golden State. I don't really like this matchup for Millsap. He's going to have to go against Draymond. But Millsap is really underpriced at only $33. He's been paying off that price tag lately. With that price tag, he only has to get you 35 fantasy points to pay that off, and he's done that in 4 straight games. So I don't really like this matchup for Millsap, but I think he is in play given his price. He can easily pay that off. So I think he's in play because of his price. He's just way too cheap. Kristaps against Orlando. I really like this matchup as well. Orlando really struggles defensively against the power forward, so if you need somebody at the mid-range, I'm liking Porzingis. Even at $31, he can pay off that price tag given this matchup. So I think he's in play. Dario Saric against Milwaukee. I'm probably not going to go there, especially not at $30. I don't think Saric is worth paying that price for. If I'm going to pay up at power forward, I'm just going to find the extra dollar for Porzingis. I'm not going to be on Saric, especially not at $30. So I don't think he's in play because of his price. LaMarcus Aldridge against Houston. I really like that if you're looking for a cash game power forward. Aldridge is really underpriced at only $27. He can easily pay that off given this matchup. Houston really struggles defensively against the power forward, so I really like Aldridge at only $27. He's definitely in play. And some power forwards on the cheaper end I like. I really like Aaron Gordon against the Knicks. Gordon has really stepped up ever since Serge Ibaka got traded. He's been playing very well. And he also has been playing pretty heavy minutes. If you need a cheap power forward on this slate, I like Aaron Gordon at only $19. This is a really good matchup against the Knicks. They're terrible defensively against the power forward. In his last 2 games, he's put up 30 and 35 fantasy points, and he's played 32 minutes in both of those games. So if you need a cheap power forward on the slate, I really like AG. He's definitely in play at only $19. He can easily pay that off. Also really like Marvin Williams against Indiana. If Frank Kaminsky does not play in this game, I really think that helps Williams. That gives him a good boost. In the last game that Frank did not play, Williams played 38 minutes and put up 36 fantasy points. So if Frank Kaminsky is out for this game, I really like Marvin Williams for value. He's definitely in play at only $15. He can easily pay that off against the Pacers. They're really bad defensively against the power forward, so if Frank Kaminsky is out, I like Marvin Williams for value. Another guy you could target on the cheap end is Rashawn Holmes. Jahlil Okafor is currently questionable for today's game against Milwaukee. If Okafor does not play, then Holmes should get the start, and he will play heavy minutes. I think Holmes is definitely in play if Okafor does not play. This is a really good matchup against Milwaukee. They struggle defensively against the power forward and the center. So if Jahlil Okafor is out, I like Holmes for value. He's definitely in play at only $12. He can easily pay that off. And yeah, that's pretty much it for power forward. Let's go and move on to center. Alright, your top center on this slate is Boogie. He gets a really bad matchup against Utah. They're really good defensively against the center. Gobert is a really good defender, and Utah does play at a slow pace. And at $56, I'm not going to be targeting Boogie on this slate. He's just way too expensive, and he gets a terrible matchup, so I don't think he's in play. Karl Anthony Towns against Portland. I like this matchup for Cat if you're looking to pay up. I don't really like his price tag at $49. He has to get you over 50 fantasy points to pay that off. But he can do that, so if you're paying up at center, Cat's going to be the guy you want to target. I don't think you should target Boogie on the slate if you want to pay up. So I think Cat's in play. But if you're going to pay up at the top, you should probably target Nikola Jokic against Sacramento. Jokic just has been playing very well lately. In his last 3 games, he's put up 53, 45, and 51 fantasy points. Even with the $48 price tag, I still think Jokic is in play. He can easily get you 50 fantasy points in this matchup. So if you're going to pay up at center, I think Jokic should be the guy you should target. Hassan Whiteside against Cleveland. I don't really like this matchup for Whiteside. He's going to have to go against Tristan Thompson, and Thompson's a good defender. I don't think I'm going to be targeting Whiteside on this slate, not at $39. I think that's a little bit too expensive. I think there are other guys worth targeting at the cheaper end, so I'm not going to be on Whiteside on this slate. Marcus Gasol against Brooklyn. I really like that matchup for Gasol. Brooklyn really struggles defensively, and they play at one of the fastest paces in the league, so if you want to pay up at center, I like Gasol at only $34. He can easily pay that off given this matchup. So I think Gasol is in play. Also really like Andre Drummond at only $32 against Chicago. Chicago really struggles defensively against the center. And Drummond is way underpriced for this matchup. He only has to get you 35 fantasy points to pay off his price tag. And he's done that in 4 straight games. So I really like Drummond as well. I think he's way underpriced for this matchup. He's going to be a center I target if I'm looking to pay up. Rudy Gobert against New Orleans. I don't think I'm going to go there on this slate. Gobert has been struggling lately. And if I'm looking to attack that price range, I'm just going to find the $2 for Drummond. So not going to be on Gobert on this slate. Brook Lopez against Memphis. I'm not going to go there. Memphis is really good defensively against the center. Marc Gasol's a really good defender. So at $27, I don't think Lopez is in play. He's not going to be someone I look at on the slate. At that same price tag, I really do like DeAndre Jordan against Boston. The Celtics are one of the worst rebounding teams in the league, and DeAndre Jordan is a really good rebounder. So if you're attacking that price range at center, I like Jordan. He is definitely in play, even at $27. He can easily pay that off given this matchup. Also really like Dwight Howard at only $25. He's hit value in 4 straight games, and he's just way too cheap. So if you're looking to attack the mid-range, I also like Howard. This is a good up and pace matchup for the Hawks. So if you need a mid-range center, I like Dwight at only $25. He can easily pay that off. And a couple of cheap centers I like Paul Gasol against Houston. Houston really struggles defensively against the center, and Gasol has been playing very well lately. He is way underpriced at only $19. He's paid off that price tag in 5 straight games. So if you need a value center, I like Gasol at only $19. He's way too cheap. He can easily pay that off in this up and pace matchup. Also really like Yusuf Nurkic against Minnesota. Nurkic is just way underpriced at Yahoo at only $16. In the 6 games that he's played with Portland, he's only not hit value in one of those games. So I like Nurkic at only $16. If I'm looking to pay down at center, he's going to be one guy I target. With the amount of minutes he plays, he's just way too cheap. He can easily get you 20 to 25 fantasy points without a problem in this matchup. So I like Nurkic at only $16 on Yahoo. He's just way too cheap. He can easily pay that off. And one value center I like, if Nikola Vucevic does not play, I like Bismack Biyombo against the Knicks. Vooch is currently questionable for today's game against the Knicks. Vooch missed Sunday's game against Washington, and Biyombo started, and he played 34 minutes and put up 35 fantasy points. So if Vooch is out and Biyombo gets a start, I like him for value. At the minimum price, he can easily pay off that cheap price tag. If Vooch doesn't play, Biyombo will play heavy minutes and he'll produce. So if Vooch is out, I like Biyombo. He's going to be a really good value play on this slate if he gets the start with Vooch out. Yeah, that's pretty much it for center. I'm going ahead and give you guys my starting 5. Alright guys, so this is my starting 5 for the NBA slate on Monday, March 6th. If you guys want my full updated lineup before lock, be sure to follow me on Twitter at the DFS_GOAT. If you look in the description, it's the first link in the description. Just click on that and it'll take you to my Twitter. And just give me a follow and DM me and we can discuss prices for my lineups. I offer lineups on DraftKings, FanDuel, and Yahoo, so if you play on one of those 3 sites, be sure to hit me up and we can discuss prices for the lineups. But yeah, I really appreciate you guys watching the video. Please be sure to like and subscribe if you enjoyed. If you guys have any questions, please be sure to hit me up on Twitter or leave a comment on this video and I'll answer your question. If you never want to miss out on a video, please be sure to click the bell icon next to my YouTube name and you'll get notifications every time I upload. So if you never want to miss out on a video, please be sure to do that. Yeah, thanks for watching guys, and we'll see you in tomorrow's video. Good luck tonight. Peace. Man, I just wanna go flex, gold on my teeth and on my neck. And I'm stone cold with the flex with my squad and I'm smoking up a check. Man, I just wanna go flex, gold on my teeth and on my